Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer, the home of Age of Sigmar stats and event coverage. I'm your host, Rob. And in today's show, we're going to be looking at the event results, as I do every Monday, from around the world in the Age of Sigmar Stats Center, where we're going to be looking at events, who did well, what that might mean to the meta and the narrative that is competitive Age of Sigmar, which is very fun. Our first event is going to take us over to the wonderful and amazing town of Atlanta. I think it's Atlanta anyway. In the US, no, Tampa. Sorry, completely different. Tampa. The US Open Tampa, organized by Games Workshop. So organized by Games Workshop, which is super fun and really cool. It was held, if you're interested, over here at the Franklin Street Tampa event. There you go. So it looks really boring. It looks a lot like a beige living room, if I'm honest. As a venue, so hopefully it was nicer inside. But that's fine. We had 3 5-0s. Christopher Schelling, Gavin Grieger, Harambe's Heroes, the most successful Age of Sigmar player the world has ever seen. That's just a statement of fact. Yeah, not only is he that, he's also, I like to think, my friend, and also just a really sweet human being. And his Baldur's Gate playthrough friend, Tom Guan, Pizza Box Zombie Man, he also went 5-0 with OCR Bone Reapers. So 2 of the most successful and dominant Age of Sigmar players the world has ever seen, Tom Guan and also Gavin, both going 5-0 at this event, with Christopher Schelling also going 5-0. And what list were they playing? It's a great question. Well, Christopher Schelling was running Sons of Behemoth, King Brod Stomp. Don't forget, this means King Brod gets a 5-up ward save, 2 more Gatebreakers, and then a War Stomper Mega Gargant. Stand on circles, roll 5-up ward saves. Now, I don't know if anyone's been watching this show for several years or been keeping track of competitive Age of Sigmar. There was a point, if we go back 3 years ago, where Gargants could get a 5-up ward save. I don't know if anyone remembers. At that point, they were quite good. And then they reintroduced that, and now quite good again. Also, Christopher Schelling is obviously fantastic. Moving over to Gavin. Gavin runs Daughters of Cain in Calibron, so that's teleporting Marathi and the Bow Snakes. That's right, Marathi and the Bow Snakes are back. Who'd have thought it? An army that doesn't ever need to even engage with you to score 5 battle tactics, and then shooting you twice with Bloodstalkers from across the board that teleport. Incredible work from Gavin. And then finally, Tom Guan with his OCR Bone Reaper Null Myriad. And I know what you're going to ask yourself. You're like, oh, my God. I'm so bored. I'm going to see some Immortis Guard. I'm going to see some Mortek Guard or some other nonsense. Well, wrong. It's not Myriad, 100%. It's got Arc and the Black, which is pretty common. But then the Mortison Ossifector with the Aura of Sterility command trait, which means that everyone within 12 inches -1 to hit, -1 to wound. And the Gothazar Cartouche, so everyone wholly within 12 inches is +1 to wound in combat. A Liege Cavalos, and then, get ready, 2 units of 4 Morghast Archai with Spirit Halberds, 5 Cavalos Death Riders, and 3 Immortis Guard in a Battle Reg. Now, yes, Null Myriad might be fairly cringe, yeah, but I think I'm now addicted to cringe content. That's what I am. That's who I am. Yeah, he's got a 2-up Spell Ignore, and then he has 2 units that, I mean, I don't really know how he won with this. If I'm actually honest, I have no idea how he won with this. That's just the simple answer. It's an insane result, to be honest. The army is -1 to hit, -1 to win from shooting, which feels pretty good. But incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Well done to him. And what an amazing set of 3 5-0s. The new Army of Renown, King Brods, is straight in. Brand new army. We've not seen that. Straight into the 5-0 slot. Then we've got a 5-0, which is a reunion tour. This is effectively the Taylor Swift tour of Age of Sigmar, in that we've got Marathi and the Bow Snakes back. And then, like a remix master, you know, like Grandmaster Flash, Tom Guan comes in, yeah, and scratches out a fresh new mix on what is Null Myriad. It's an amazing lineup. This is a concert I'd go to. Loads of love. In the 4-1 bracket, we have some legends. Jonathan Roberts with the Blades of Corn, Cody Saltz with the Seraphon, cookie cutter build there with the double Arca Sotek. Jordan Rainey, though, coming in with the Skaven, which was super fun. I really enjoyed that. That's a fun list. Let me just go find it for you so we can talk about it. Verminlord Warbringer, Greyseer, Lord Screech Vermin King, a Plague Priest, and then some minimum clan rats, 1 unit of big Plague Sensor Bearers, and a Hellpit Abomination with a Warp Grinder. So he has got access to a lot of spells there, which is really fun, and 3 big monsters in the Warbringer, Vermin King, or Screech Vermin King, and also the Hellpit Abomination. So that's quite fun. There's lots to that. I think Skaven really have an advantage against other people just by the quality of people not knowing how to fight against them. Jake Batistita from the soft crowd, the antithesis of the tough crowd, with his Gloom Spike Gits, and he had a big unit of 9 Rock Guts in his list, which was fun. And then the classic, some King's Git stuff, which was in there. Stian Egbertsen, I think travelling over from Norway with his Slaves to Darkness, Knights of the Empty Throne, double units of Varangard, 2 units of 6 in the Mark of Khorne. And then, which is like the big killer units in the army as well. Gotta say, Knights of the Empty Throne really do feel like, like getting big units of Varangard does really feel like a very easy beginner's army to play, and I would encourage that. Matthew Powell with his Kharadron Overlords was the new army of renown for Kharadron Overlords, where the gun haulers and also the gun guys, I forget their name for the moment, but the gun haulers and also, the Gunstruck Thunderers, 11 out of 10, let's go. The Gunstruck Thunderers are able to shoot twice potentially, but only going 4-1, so we don't have to worry about that. It's not broken, it's fine. Chai Zola with his Blaze of Khorne Skullfiend Tribe. He had just a pretty nice mix of a lot of priests, and I think he had some Reapers in there. Michael Smith with Zaneth Deepkin Futhwin was a bunch of Sharks. He had 1 unit of 6, I think it was defensive eels in his list, and a big turtle. We've seen the Shark list doing really well at the minute. Loads of Alapexes and a Leviathan, and then a minimal character set. Tom O'Connell with his Big War is kind of like, it's pretty good. He's got a Breaker Boss of Boot Troggoth, Gobsprak, Uruk Warchanter, Weird Knob Shaman. Then he's got 20 Moonclan Stabbers as allies, 6 Brute Ragers, and then 10 Ardboys, 5 Brutes, and 3 Gore Grunters. This is the first time we've seen those Brute Ragers in there as well, and they're very, very cheap. Very, very cheap with some incredible output. It's also the first time we've seen, that more expensive Ardboy unit and people kind of changing around their Big War list. Big War still able to achieve a lot of battle tactics. Super easy. Nicholas Carpinetto with another Skaven list, which is cool. And he had a Greyseer, Warlock Engineer, Plague Priest on Plague Furnace, a Claw Lord, Skabic the Plague Seeker, and then a Plague Priest. Then minimum Clan Rats again, 3 units of 20. A unit of Storm Vermin, and then Hellpit Abomination, and 3 Warp Lightning Cannons in here as well. And a Doom Wheel. So, there's lots of shooting from the Lightning Cannons of the Doom Wheel. Hellpit Abomination is, again, a good fighting piece. It looks like there's just enough stuff on the board now for Skaven to start doing quite well, which is fun. And then Sean Todd with his Ogre Tribes, Frosthorn Stonehorn, 3 Stonehorn Base Riders, and some Mournfang. Hope everyone had a really great time at the GW event. There's some nice diversity there. Double Skaven in the 4-1 bracket is really exciting, in my personal opinion. Seeing new armies of renown. KO1 went 4-1, which is interesting. The Sons of Behemoth one going 5-0. That might have been the sleeper pick from the release. This is all in the Dawnbringers 2 book, which is interesting. Knights of the Empty Throne still solid. Gloomspike Git still solid. And Blaze of Khorne still an S-tier army, in my opinion. So I hope everyone had a good time. Our next event is the Kippers Melee, happening on Gordon Street in Nanimeo in Vancouver, organised by Andy Selwood. Shout out to Andy Selwood. The event was held here at the Literacy Centre for people who don't learn too good in Vancouver Island. Or on Vancouver Island, I'm not really sure. Anyway, looking at the 5-0s, we've got 2. We've got Ogre Tribes, played by Carson Whitlock, and then Ryan Eiffel from Bofa. I know what you're asking yourself. Bofa what? Both these nuts? Thank you, chat. Anyway, and he's playing Big War. So Carson, with his Ogre Tribes, has got a Meat Fist army with a Firebelly, a Frosthorn Stonehorn, a Slaughtermaster, and then he's got a unit of Ogre Gluttons twice, and then a unit of Iron Guts twice, all minimum, and then a unit of Iron Blasters and a unit of Noblars. It's pretty fun seeing this stuff go 5-0. I do wonder how this stuff hits the 5-0 mark. I think it just does so much damage straight away, just is mega aggro, and on a double does very, very well, right? And it's got backed up by a bit of shooting with the Iron Blaster. But it's consistent. Ogre Mawtribes have a consistently high win rate. I think they're very good army, so if you do want to pick them up, then you could. And then a big War from Uruk War Clans, played by Ryan, has got an Uruk Winnob Shaman, a Wurgog Prophet, obviously, with the glowing tattoos, Gobsprak, a War Chanter, a Breaker Boss, and Mybrute Tragos. This is the second one in a row now we've seen do well. And then a War Chanter as well, so 2 War Chanters in total. 2 units of Ard Boys, so these are the new Ard Boys, which are a really solid profile, in my personal opinion. Very, very solid. They're just this slightly more damagey version of Chaos Warriors, but I think Chaos Warriors are great as well. And then a big unit of Uruk Brutes, so a unit of 10 there. And then a unit of 6 Gore Grunters. So, with the exception of, your Wurgog Prophet in there, and your Breaker Boss and Gobsprak, everything else is basically an Iron Jaws army. Breaker Boss, again, a really good combat piece, and Gobsprak just doing really well as well. Gobsprak's obviously incredible in the Magic meta that we're currently in, which I think is good. Those are the 2 5-0s. Let's go look at the 4-1. In the 4-1 bracket, you had the very unique list that Dell Johnson runs, which is a Melisai, Cauldron of Blood, a bunch of Witch Elves with a High Gladiatrix, which I think is still very, very good in this meta. And then he's got 4 Avatars of Cain in his list, all in Hagnar, which I think is really cool. Then Dansei. Dansei is in Dansei. Dansei with his Beast of Chaos with 9 Bulgor. My Dan. Oh my god, if that's my Dan, I think that's my Dan going 4-1. Amazing. With his Bulgor. Then Tanner McCormack with his Daughters of Cain in Calibron. Again, a bunch of Witch Elves, Marathian, the Bow Snakes. Arneth Deepkin, Futhwan, which is Sharks, and a Leviathan with a unit of Namati Thralls. Taylor Galgan with his Maggotkin, Befouling Host. He ended up running Glotkin, a Great Unclean One, and Be'lakor. So again, those big monsters in Nurgle doing very, very well. And then Roman Lazzarotti with his Ogre Mawtribes Meat Fist, which looks to be cookie cutter because it's the same as the last 4-1 Ogre Meat Fist as well. Firebelly, Frosthorn, Stonehorn, Slaughtermaster, and then 2 lots of Ogre Gluttons and 2 lots of Iron Guts with an Iron Blaster and Noblars, which is amazing. Incredible. Special shout out to my good friend Dan Say, my co-host for the Age of Sigmar World Championships, my co-host also for the Age of Sigmar Monday show, one of my favourite Warhammer people in the world. And then he doesn't get to go to many events, and when he does, with an absolutely 10 out of 10 performance with his Beast of Chaos going 4-1. Love that. So shout out to him. Taking us over to England next, and we go to the Justice Series GT, organised by the Just Play guys up in Liverpool. It's a great event and also a great gaming venue if you get the chance to go. 48 players battled it out to be the champ, and in the 5-0 bracket we had 2 players. We had Stephen Follows and Solomon Morrow. Stephen Follows was running a very cool Maggotkin list in the Befouling Host, Glotkin, Blowbrot Spawn, a Great Unclean One, and Morbidex Twice Spawn. So 4 big monsters, backed up by 3 battleline units of Plague Bearers, all in a battle regiment. Not all in a battle regiment, because you can't all be in a battle regiment, but some of it in a battle regiment, and then with 2 Fecular Nullmaws, because it's a sub-faction. And I know for a fact he does lots of summoning to get him further along down the line, which I think is very cool as well. It's a great list. I really like it. And it must be really fun to transport, put around on the table, and does lots of stuff, which is very cool. Stephen also previously played a lot of Tzeentch, where you were able to summon lots of Lords of Change. So this kind of seems to be his playstyle at the moment, making it so that there are lists where you summon lots of big monsters into your army. So it's cool to see him building a unique list that also does the same thing in another faction. Then Solomon, all the way over from Ireland. Special shout out to him. He's great. He's one of the youngest people on the tournament circuit, but doing so well. Already represented his national team for at least 2 years running. So it's great to see him going over to a big event and doing so well. He's running Soulblight Gravelord, Leaders of the Night. He's got Manfred von Karstein, Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, and then a Vampire and a Necromancer, then 2 lots of 20 Deadwalker Zombies, 2 lots of 3 Fellbats, 20 Graveguard, 8th Void Pendulum in the list as well. So Graveguard's still solid at that points value. Fellbats for grabbing objectives and shutting down charges, they're very good as well. 2 lots of 20 Deadwalker Zombies. Obviously just great for holding those objectives, but it's the double dragon list really that you're seeing here in Manfred and the Vampire Lord, in my personal opinion, which is just absolutely Brilliant. Let's go look at the 4-1s. 4-1 bracket has got some very interesting lists. Tom Maudsley, Team England, with a very cool list. Grey Seer on Screaming Bell. He's got 2 of those, of all things. A Plague Priest on Plague Furnace, and then he has a Plague Priest, another Grey Seer, and Scabic Plague Seeker. Then he's got some minimum Clan Rats, and he's got 15 Plague Censer Bearers twice. I did talk about this on stream a couple of weeks ago. Plague Censer Bearers are very, very powerful. And then Warp Lightning Vortex as well. You get some amazing output from those Plague Censer Bearers, as well as some very good output from the Plague Furnace as well, which is very, very good. Then we've got Lewis Swan with Ogre More Tribes, Kragnos, 2 Tyrants, again, minimum Gluttons, 3 units of those, and some Iron Guts. So again, Ogre's just doing very well in that 4-1 bracket, which is lovely to see. Max, very much following his teammates Stevens' kind of like archetype and taking the Glockin. Orgots Demon Spew, Blow Brot Spawn, Morbid X Twice Spawn. So 4 big monsters, but slightly different to Stevens. And then a Rotbringer Sorcerer and 3 lots of 10 Plague Bearers. Which you'd love to see as well. Then Jack Crinks has got a Glogs Mega Mob, which has got Trug in the list, which is very interesting, even though it's not Trug's Army of Renown. Dan Cole Trug Boss as the General, Scragrot, Madcap Shaman, 9 Rock Guts, and then 2 lots of 3 Fell Waters with the Gobblepalooza. I 100% expect to see in the future Trug's Mega Mob be a 4-1 army, maybe even go 5-0. Does depend on what some of those new kind of like armies of renown in the future are going to be, but I think Trug's is a legit very good list. Maybe a little bit awkward for teams because of the RNG of the Bonk Stonks, but we'll see. And that's it in the 4-1. Justice Series and Richie and those guys put on a great event. If you do get the opportunity to go over to Liverpool, then please do. The guys would really appreciate it, and it's a great little time. Our next event is over in Sweden called Fantasia Fanatic, being held in the north of Sweden, organised by Fantasia Group, being held in a school up there in the north, which is fun. Not many years, actually. Normally quite a cold part of the world, but actually not a few years until it becomes a tropical paradise. No reason as to why, but that's fun. Now, in the 5-0 bracket, we've only got 1 player because this event only had, well, not only, but it had 40 champions, 40 legends battling out, including Squidmar played at the event, which is cute to see. But it was won by the champ, Ronja Anderson, with her Soulblight Gravelord's Army, Legion of the Night. She was running Manfred von Karstein, Vampire Lord, and then a Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, and then King Morlach Velmorn. Definitely the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, and also Manfred, very popular in Legion of the Night as a duo. Then 10 Direwolves, 3 Fellbats, 20 Graveguard, and then the Sons of Velmorn. So still 3 hammer pieces in this list. The Manfred, Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, and those 20 Graveguard, all doing some solid work into the enemy, which is cool, and just a very good list anyway. In the 4-1 bracket, we've got Per Sigavalius, and Per was running Blades of Khorne, and his Blades of Khorne list, let me just grab it for you, was Unit 20 Bloodletters, along with some Blood Crushers and some Flesh Hounds in his list as well, and 1 big unit of Skull Reapers, 6 Furies, the Unmade. Then he had a Blood Secretor, Bloodthirster and Fetid Fury, and a Slaughter Priest. So Khorne's still just such a dominant army as well. We did have 2 Seraphon armies, both running Fangs of Sotek, obviously with Croak in there as well, which is cool. And they were played by Abe Al-Hayali, I definitely got that wrong, I'm sorry, and Albert Johansson. Shout out to both those 2 players. And then finally, Alexis Herbeck, who must be one of the best players in the whole world, because his list is insane. Absolutely insane. So he was running Hallowed Knights as a Stormkeep. He has Guard of Steel Soul, Knight Arcanum, Knight Incantor, and a Knight Relictor, which is already pretty crazy as a loadout. Then he had 2 units of 5 Liberators and 3 units of Vindicators. Now, don't forget in Stormkeep, this does mean they're going to count for more on objectives. So maybe the whole idea was to just like outscore the primary consistently. 1 Stormstrike Chariot, 1 unit of 6 Quest of Soulsworn, 4 Dracothian Guard Tempesters, and 2 units of 5 Vanguard Hunters with Boltstorm Pistols and Shotgun Axes. In a Battle Reg, Andorian Acolytes, and Redemption Brotherhood. It's 4 drops. It's only like it's 153 wounds. I honestly don't know how he did so well with this list, and I think it's stunning. as a result. So congratulations to him. A special shout out to everyone in Sweden. I got a load of love for a load of Swedish players, right? Alexis only lost against Ronja in the final game for first place, which is stunning. So well done to him. He should be super proud of himself. And yeah, I hope everyone had a lovely time over there. Our next event is the Woehammer GT, AOS GT2, over in, it looks like a retail estate in England, which are always stunning as a place. Look at this. Look at the nature. Look at this park bench you can sit at, take in the nature of this bush. It's just a delightful time. Oh, there's even a tree over here near this porta potty section. Just wonderful. Anyway, the event had 28 players in England, and James Linford won the event with 4 and a draw to start it out, and then submarined his way up to the win. So 4 and a draw. Shout out to him. He's running the Caradron Overlads in Barak Urbaz. He has an Etheric Navigator, a Chemist, and an Admiral. 10 Thunderers in an Ironclad with Gotrek Gunderson running around, a Gun Hauler, and some Arcanaut company. So lots of shooting and a good amount of fighting, which you love to see. So congratulations to him. In the 4-1 bracket, we had Magikkin and Nurgle via the Befouling Host. This is a cool little list in my opinion. And Nurgle still doing incredibly well. Blobe, the Glockin, Horticulate Slimix, and Orgot's Demon Spew. So 2 big monsters and Glockin. And then Slimix is in there with some Battle Line Beasts of Nurgle, a unit of Rotmire Creed, and the Nurgling. So all the monsters run forward again. The Beasts of Nurgles do all their charging and do all their Mortal Wound impact hits. They're also a cheap Battle Line unit as well. You could have got, obviously, Plague Bearers for a little bit cheap, for like a few points more. But Horticulix is fun to have in the list as well, especially because you get extra Feculent Nullmaw. And then Rotmire Creed applying more disease points is very, very cool. Mira Berry with a pretty cool Slanesh list in Invaders. Shalaxi Hellbane, which you never see play, going 4-1 is insane. A Keeper of Secrets, which you rarely see, doubling up is pretty nutty. Contorted Epitome and the Mask. Then 2 units of 22 Blitzbarb Archers. 2 units of 11 Blitzbarb Archers for 22 in total. 10 Demonettes and 2 units of 3 Fiends. So, really crazy. Like, you literally don't see this. This is so this is such a good list, but so unique as well. I haven't seen this before. So MSU stuff, piling attack twice from the Keeper, Shalaxi in there. Honestly, very, very interesting and really unique and cool to see. Then we had Jack Morton with his Idoneth Deepkin and Jack Perryman with his Cruel Boys. The Idoneth Deepkin list contained an Achillean King, 2 Soul Renders, and a Thrall Master. Then 2 units of 20 Namati Thralls, a unit of 30 Namati Reavers, and a Achillean Leviathan. This is pretty interesting, actually, because it feels like that's exactly how the army could play. You know, 2 units of 20 Thralls at the front, some Reavers shooting over the top, Leviathan charging in, you know, the Achillean King also charging. You've got, like, 5 threats in the army. But it's just never seemed to pan out, or I haven't seen people be able to get this to pan out. But now it seems to be working, which is cool. So congratulations to Jack. So that's cool. And then Jack Perryman is running a Cruel Boys list, and he has 2 Swampcaller Shamans, Gobsbrack, a Killer Boss with Stabgrot, and then a Snatcher Boss on Sludge Beast, which is quite important, because don't forget, he's going to be adding the extra mortals to everyone in range. And then 2 units of 20 Gut Rippers, and then a unit of 2 units of 6 Manskewer Bolt Boys. So that's just a lot of mortal wounds outside, like at the enemy when you charge in and when you shoot. And this is all in Grinning Blade, so you can't see it outside of 12 inches. So actually, I think that might be even better than it looks on paper and might be very, very strong. And Jack only lost his first game and then won all of his others. So I think that's very cool.
So exciting to see you live. It's your birthday, but I feel like I got a gift. Hope it's an amazing day to celebrate you. Who knew that hill would be so easy to get over?
As I'm recording this for YouTube, I'd just like everyone to know on YouTube that it is my birthday. And the chat have been continuously sending me silly amounts of money while also saying stupid things in the chat. So thank you to Camel Spider Dave for the lovely message. Thank you. And I appreciate you. And then I appreciate everyone who was at the event and had a great time. Our final event is the Symposium event organised by the South London Wargaming Guild. Or South East London Wargaming Guild, I think, pretty much. It's held in the same venue as the LGT, but it's held the week after. Also, for people who are getting on in years, unlike me, young and fresh, is that they have a bunch of historical battles at the event at the same time. So you can play historicals, also you can play Sigmar, the normal stuff. Now, in first place, we had Phil. There was 20 players at the event, and in first place, we had Phil Sprignall, a member of, currently of Team England, super cool guy, also a member of 9 Inch Fails. And he was running Karajan Overlords Barak Zon. He's running an Archanaut Admiral, an Aetheric Navigator, and then 2 units of 3 Skywardens, some Archanaut Company, and then 2 units of 6 Engine Riggers, and then 2 frigates. Phil has kind of made this his thing. Other people around the world obviously have done this, but Phil often, and has done since the new KO book, has been running double frigate. I love to see it. I think it's really solid. Shout out to him. Those Engine Riggers healing them from alive to dead, and they go so much faster than you think that they're going to go, and so much combat damage as well, so shout out to him. Hazel, in the 4-1 bracket with her Ironnet Deepkin, was running all the Alapexes and also a Leviathan, which is great and has done really well, and she's already done well with that in the past. And then John Burgess, Gitley from the chat, in the 4-1 with his Blades of Khorne army, with a Bloodthirster and Fetid Fury, a Realmgore Ritualist, a Slaughter Priest, Scarbrand, Corgus Cole, Slaughter Priest, and 1 unit of Blood Reavers, 1 unit of Blood Warriors, some Flesh Hounds, Claws of Karnak, Mighty Skull Crushers, which is great. And again, it's that classic, the Bloodthirster and Fetid Fury, pushing around the other major threats like Scarbrand to do all of the damage. Blood Warriors for tanking, and using Murderlust to work out really well. So, at the end of the stats this week, or at the end of kind of the event review this week, how am I feeling and how are we feeling as a community? Well, we've already started to see those armies of renown start to feature, especially over in the USA. And King's Broad seems to have done well this week, but don't forget, this is just the start. I'm sure we're going to see more of the KO version. We're going to see more King Broad armies of renown as well, in my opinion. Very easy to build and paint and put on the tabletop, which is cool. Trug's army still out there. I think we're going to see a Trug's list. We're going to see some Trug's armies start to do really well as well. Those are all from the new armies of renown. With the big meta shake-up, I think Varangard is still very, very good. All of the different armies, not all of the different, but many of the different armies are featuring. We've got a lot of Ogres seeing play as well. We aren't seeing as many Soulblight Gravelords, which we love to see. We still are on the comeback tour for Marathi and the Bow Snakes. And also, you seeing people just mix it up. Even though it was OBR that won the biggest event this week, and it was Null Myriad, it was a list I was never expecting to see with a bunch of Morghast Archai. So the lists are also very different as well. The lists are also very different as well, which is good. So diverse amount of armies in the 4-1 and 5-0 bracket. Those armies are a mixture of new army builds, thanks to Armies of Renown, and also older army builds, like, the Daughters of Cain list, or even the Alapexes. Like that Alapex and Leviathan list, I know some of them have got cheaper recently, but it's been basically viable since that book came out. KO still doing fine in there. Seraphon just sitting comfortably in the 4-1 bracket, and I am legitimately surprised by that. I really thought we would see Seraphon be far more dominant, so I'm willing to admit that I definitely didn't absolutely nail that, which I think is fine. That happens. We've seen Blades of Khorne still be very solid in its bracket, and I still think it's an S-tier army, and I think it will continue to be so. Some shout-outs to all the Skaven players also hitting that 4-1 list. Wasn't expecting that. Love that. That's really fun. A bunch of different Skaven players hitting up there. Cruel Boys, Big War, all featuring as well. So very diverse, a very diverse meta. And don't forget, this is just one weekend's worth of coverage. Next Monday, I'll be covering next weekend's worth of coverage. There'll be loads more events, and the game is in a really healthy place. The amount of events increasing, the amount of players at the events is increasing, and it feels like it's in a really good and healthy place as a game. Can't argue with that, and I'm happy. Thank you to the chat for a wonderful time while we did look at the stats. I hope you've enjoyed the video. This is my birthday when we're recording it, so if you do like it, then for my birthday, if you could like and subscribe, leave a comment, and any of those things, that would be super cool. Thank you so much. And